Which is the better car, the BMW M340i or the Mercedes AMG C43? Well, in this episode, we are going to find out. The BMW comes in two different models. The standard M340i starts at around $58,000. The X-Drive starts at around $60,000. There's only one version of the C43 and that starts at around $60,000. The M340i has a sportier looking exterior than the standard 3 Series. You can pay extra for the extended shadowline trim, which replaces the chrome trim on the outside with black. As standard you have 18-inch wheels. You can pay extra for 19-inch wheels. Overall, this vehicle looks pretty nice. It's a bit too complex, but it's not a bad looking vehicle. The AMG C43 also has a sportier looking exterior than the standard C-Class. You can pay extra for the night pack, and that replaces all the chrome trim on the outside with black. Just like the BMW you have 18-inch wheels as standard, you can pay extra for 19-inch or 20-inch wheels. Overall, between these two vehicles, I prefer the look of the Mercedes. The C43 has a very cool looking exterior. But let me know in the comments down below, which exterior design do you guys prefer? The BMW has a clean, minimal interior. You have a nice widescreen display, and since this is the M340i, you have the M Sport steering wheel. Overall, the interior design is pretty nice. I like how it looks, but there is one thing you cannot go wrong with, and that's BMW's interior quality. BMW's interiors feel very solid and have the highest quality materials. While the Mercedes interior looks a lot more complex, it looks so much cooler. It looks a lot better than the BMW's interior. The AMG Performance steering wheel looks great. While this interior looks cooler, the BMW has a better build quality. The Mercedes has a better looking interior, but the BMW's interior feels nicer. But let me know in the comments down below, which interior do you guys prefer? These vehicles are both decent sized sedans. So how do they compare in storage? The Mercedes has up to 12.6 cubic feet of cargo space. The BMW has a bigger trunk. It has up to 17 cubic feet of cargo space. The standard M340i has one motor at the back. The X-Drive has two motors. Both of those have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 engine, which makes 283 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. It powers the vehicle by an 8-speed automatic transmission, and there's a 48-volt mild hybrid system which makes an additional 11 horsepower. The Mercedes has a handcrafted 2-liter inline-4 turbo engine, which makes 402 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. This engine powers all four wheels by a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, a special feature of this engine is the turbocharger is controlled electrically. There's a small 48-volt electric motor which powers the turbocharger at low speeds until exhaust gas flow takes over at higher speeds, and that cancels the lag. Just like the BMW, there's a 48-volt mild hybrid system, which makes an additional 13 horsepower. So how quick are these vehicles? The Mercedes can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds, and it can finish the quarter mile in around 13 seconds. But since you have the electrically controlled turbocharger and the mild hybrid system, it's probably going to go quicker. The standard M340i can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.4 seconds. The X-Drive can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.1 seconds. It can also finish the quarter mile in around 12 seconds. But once again, since you have the mild hybrid system, this vehicle will go even faster. Now let's talk about the chassis upgrades these vehicles get over their standard versions. The C43 has a stiffer shock suspension than the standard C-Class. As standard, you have adaptive dampers with 3 different modes. There's also variable ratio steering. So the steering power assistance is increased at low speeds and decreased at high speeds. It basically makes the steering more responsive and gives the overall vehicle more stability. There's also an electrically controlled rear differential which can send 100% of the power to the outer wheel with the most grip. The M340i has a stiffer shock suspension than the standard 3 Series. There's adaptive dampers as standard, and you have stiffer sway bars at the front and rear to prevent body roll. There's also variable ratio steering just like the Mercedes, and an electrically controlled rear differential. Both of these vehicles get upgraded brakes over their standard versions. The Mercedes at the front has 371mm discs gripped by 4-piston calipers. At the back, this vehicle has 320mm discs gripped by single-piston calipers. The BMW at the front has 348mm discs gripped by 4-piston calipers. At the back, this vehicle has 348mm discs gripped by single-piston calipers. These vehicles have a very nice driving experience. With the Mercedes, since you have the electrically controlled turbocharger, there is no lag, which improves the pickup, and the overall acceleration is excellent. The suspension has 3 different settings. You can set the suspension to a softer setting on a casual drive. Overall, the upgraded stiffer suspension makes this vehicle feel more agile. There's also rear wheel steering, which can turn the rear wheels by up to 2.5 degrees. That improves the turning circle and traction at higher speeds. The traction in this vehicle is excellent. The 4-wheel electronic traction system with the torque vectoring makes this vehicle handle so well. The C43 is great for cornering. The variable ratio steering increases stability and gives the vehicle a deft feel, which also helps with the handling and traction. The steering and acceleration is great. There's another thing in this vehicle which is great, and those are the AMG Sport brakes, which have better stopping performance than the standard brakes. There's also adaptive braking technology, so when you lift up the accelerator quickly, this feature sets the brake pads closer to the discs, and that makes the brakes respond immediately. The driving in this vehicle is awesome, but can it beat the BMW's driving experience? The BMW has a bigger engine, which brings more power. The stiffer suspension makes this car feel more agile, and the sway bars prevents body roll. This vehicle is great for cornering as the traction and handling is awesome. Just like the Mercedes, the variable ratio steering increases stability and provides more road feel. You have the M Sport brakes, which have better stopping performance than the standard brakes. So which is better, the BMW M340i or the Mercedes AMG C43? It is so close between these two. These vehicles are phenomenal, but the BMW is just slightly better. It has a better engine, the driving experience is extremely close between these two, but the BMW does just have the edge. This car also has a better build quality than the Mercedes, and that is why the BMW M340i is better than the Mercedes AMG C43. But let me know in the comments down below, which vehicle do you guys prefer? But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode.